Good evening. Welcome to 4 the Hour. I am Glendora Lashley. Yesterday, during his Sunday service, Pastor Glenroy Frank, chairman of the board of the Pentecostal Light and Life Multifaceted Foundation, sought to officially update his members and, well, the ultimate owners of the school under the Pentecostal Foundation about the unfortunate public saga that the secondary school found itself in with the Division of Education, Research and Technology, led by Secretary Zorisha Hackett, who is ably assisted by Assistant Secretary and former Tutor Tobago Officer Orlando Kerr. Now, the Pentecostal Light and Life School, the secondary school, on Friday issued a public advisory on a decision to temporarily close the school until further notice, saying that there were matters that were not expedited by the Education Division to facilitate the proper reopening of the secondary school, and this is in spite of ongoing collaboration between the school, well, the school board and the division. The advisory saw an initial prompt response from Secretary Hackett via her personal Facebook account, stating that the school received $1.9 million annually. She also said that it had already received its allocation for the period. Secretary Hackett further stated that there are 3 periods in question and an allocation of some $638,000 applies to each period. For the next hour, joining me is the chairman of the board of the Pentecostal Light and Life Multifaceted Foundation, Pastor Glenroy Frank, as we seek to better understand some of what transpired last Friday, between last Friday and today, Monday. Good evening, Pastor Frank.
Well, thank you, and I am very delighted, Glendora, for the opportunity to be here for the hour.
Thank you. No, we appreciate you taking the time to join us.
And I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity. And the Pentecostal Light and Life and the Pentecostal organization would have committed itself to give and to play its role within our community to give value education to our children.
All right. I like how you said that, because in your service yesterday, as you sought to update your congregation as chairman of the board and pastor, you highlighted that this is about education and not politics, right? Apparently some people have accused you of being political, and we have a clip. I'd like to play what you said to the congregation with respect to that, just so our viewers can understand.
But what has happened is that the closing of the school seemed to have triggered the anger of the division on 2 terms. One, that like we have no right to take that action, and 2, that it was an action for political embarrassment. Let me say to you, brethren, that the action that I took was in knowing the history of Light and Life. I took an action to prevent escalation in violence, which we all are aware taking place in school right now.
All right, so that was you, Pastor Frank, yesterday during your Sunday service in the announcement period. So for the people who are seeing the announcement there, that's a clip taken directly from Pastor Frank's church service. They stream live. Give us a bit of background information. Why would there be a conversation about it being political? Why did you feel the need to share with your audience, you know, that there's no politics?
I think that there is a lot of low-level thinking in our society. Before I became a pastor, I was trained in a particular way and worked with the Trinidad and Tobago government. And one of the things that they teach you is loyalty, because of the type of work that I had done, that anytime a government change, you align yourself. When a government is in power, you give it your respect. The election is over a long time, and I think that a lot of people who were of the People's National Movement shift and supported the PDP. Now, the PNM called me a lot to pray and to officiate in several things, because I'm one of the leading pastors in the Pentecostal organization, and when you function. But I saw, you know, people making the remark that pastor is a PNM pastor, and the action he took at the school is because he want to embarrass the... Listen, many people don't know how close Pastor Frank is to the chief secretary, father. Sometimes when he bake 2 sweet bread, he send one in my house. We are friends.
Okay.
And I wish the PDP well. I am happy for them. But what has happened, I just want to make it abundantly clear to Trinidad and Tobago and to Tobago that my action is not about politics. Because, as I said, that Mr. A.N.R. Robinson was the first man who gave us a break by taking my letter to cabinet to approve whether or not we could have assisted status. We had Mr. Ho Choi Charles, who was chief secretary. He rallied also in our side. We have Brother Benedict Armstrong. He has been a deputy chairman of the Tobago House of Assembly, member of the church. The both of us serve on that cabinet-appointed committee established by Mr. Robinson. Then when the approvals were done, Mr. Adish Nanan was the Minister of Education at that time.
So you've had a
those were UNC people. And I have received no significant input. As a matter of fact, the building that we have there unfinished, we start since 2005. It famished after Mr. London left, under the PNM. And Light and Life, I would not degrade it into political canal. The thing about it, the children of Tobago and their future is the Pentecostals' interest. What has happened at the school is that the teachers were dissatisfied because during the, before the vacation in Easter, there were several issues that they were complaining about. But at that time was only 2 classes that were there. Right. The 2 forms, one preparing for exam, and the 4th and 5th. Now, it was discussed by the teachers, the principals, and then the division that when school reopened, these things need to be taken care of. Okay. So, lo and behold, nothing transpired, though it was promised during there that these concerns, because the rooms were of a particular size. During COVID with social distance, they came, they broke down all the partition because to facilitate school. There were some serious adjustments that were made. Because of the air conditioning not being used for 2 years and all those kind of things, the auditorium now that probably have over 5 classes there because of its size. Right. It have no AC it used to have, and so on. So when the teachers turn up, that what was promised, and I'm not say speaking for or against them, my action as chairman was based on the fact that when I learned that the teachers were dissatisfied and was going back home, the environment of Light and Life, 3 fights were recorded on Thursday.
Right, and this is last week Thursday.
That's last week Thursday. That was the 2nd day of school. Right. Why? Because the teachers have already just did their thing and left. And they were not supervised. So I call on closing because I have fought for years to get that culture of fight out of our school. And the last major fight that took place at Light and Life, a parent and a son came in. I think the police arrested them. I don't know what became of that. Right. And apparently, he said the guy jumped or they threw him from the upper floor. His hands and body parts were broken. And the cry then was the security was limited. They increased the security by having about 5 or 6 other officers there manning every gate.
Right. So you closed the school
this is my concern. I wasn't studying about someone posting me on Facebook and talking about money and a number of different things because of the danger that was there. The principal, because it was 27 teachers, 23, that is the official report I got, were not present. So the principal, the vice principal, and the other teacher or 2 could not man all the children. Remember, we are in a pandemic still, where COVID is still an issue. There were a lot of COVID protocols that we were given to execute. That could not happen. So the decision we took, I believe, was a responsible one. It was never intended to embarrass anyone. And I believe that if then there was an issue that the division had, the prudent thing to do was to convene with me. I reached out.
Okay. So and I was just going to ask you that because we're just a few minutes away from the break, a couple minutes. Were you required to notify the school based on whatever MOU?
The notification.
Not the school, sorry, the Division of Education.
Yes, they were notified.
So you told them that
they were notified. What the SS3 did tell the principal, go on as usual. And so
when you notified the division,
after that, there were no response in regards to the supervision of the children. There is when I said, listen, send that communique out that parents don't bring their children here and leave them unsupervised.
Okay, gotcha. So as we cut to our first break, what we're hearing from Pastor Frank is that there was an issue with respect to the teachers at the Pentecostal Light and Life Secondary School coming to the school on Wednesday and Thursday, not meeting what they expected in terms of the technical and logistical things that were supposed to be done for the school to be properly ready for reopening. So they signed and they went home. Pastor Frank is saying that because of that and the need for the safety given the school's history, he took a decision as chairman to close the school. This is after they sent communication to the Division of Education, who apparently responded and said, carry on as usual, which to Pastor Frank and his school board's mind just was not the feasible option. We want you to think about that as we continue after the break.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Rest easy at American Stores. Up to 20% off. Outstanding discounts on selected Serta, Sealy, and Therapeutic mattress brands. Check us out today at American Stores, where we make quality living affordable.
Our national borders our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
Thank you for staying with us. And if you're not now joining us, you're watching 40 Hour. All right. My name is Glendora Lashley. I have with me Pastor Frank, the chairman of the Pentecostal Light and Life Multifaceted Foundation, which is the board responsible for the secondary schools and several other things under the purview of the Pentecostal Church Tobago. And we are discussing the saga that has happened between the secondary school and the Division of Education. Now, mind you, since Friday to now, the school reopened, but there have been several issues in the public domain ventilated between the school and the division. I want to go very quickly to another clip from Pastor Frank's Sunday service, which is where he cleared the air to his church members on Sunday last, and this now shows some thoughts on what happened with respect to a visit by an alleged visit by the Secretary for Education, Zarisha Hackett, to this school.
I say to the secretary that they are new, and I kind of forgive her in a way, because they need in that division to get the secretary and teach her the principles of leadership, because she cannot be a person who function in an office with all these stakeholders involved and refuse to have a conversation.
All right, so Pastor Frank, what you said to your audience during your Sunday service essentially is that after the school was closed and there was some back and forth, the secretary did not, well, she attempted to call you. You said that there was a call on your phone for the number that you have from the secretary. You also got a text from the chief secretary, Farley Augustine, that he would contact you. He did not. And what happened afterwards, you attempted to call back the secretary, did not get a response. But somewhere in between all of that, the secretary's name was signed in your guest book at the school, showing that she made a visit, but there was no communication with yourself or any member of the school board as far as you know. And as a result, those were your statements. Is that so?
Yeah. Well, yes, I said that because I was told that her name is in the entry book, signed probably sometime on Friday.
Right.
And you know, what I'm saying is that you expect a higher level of behavior. And I'm not saying this disparagingly, but I just hope that the leaders listen, because I am so happy for them. And my heart is being contradicted by disappointment, because to me these are simple things. Now, I reached out to them because I tried calling and I was getting no response. I sent a message saying, listen, let us dialogue before matters escalate.
Okay. Have you been able to have a conversation since? Because this was on Friday.
So the chief secretary messaged me and he said, listen, I will call you very early on Friday morning. When I saw the chief, that was probably after 1, somewhere about there, because my phone was on silent at home. And
after 1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. So when I noticed the thing, I I also noticed a missed call from the secretary. That was about 11:30. Also, I didn't get it because as I said, my phone was on silent.
Okay, and
So,
11:30 p.m. just before 1
Just
a.m.
before 1.
All right.
Now, I don't mind they communicating to me because I'm a pastor, and you could call me anytime if there are matters, even though we have to set up all night to fix it. You know, as a matter of fact, this is one of the things that, you know, very meaningful to us, that when there are problems, you resolve them. Let not the sun go down on your wrath.
Right.
Now, I reached out to them, right? There was a call which I missed, and there was a message from the chief secretary. I got up 4 a.m. Anticipating, waiting for the call. To date, I have not received the call. I try all how to communicate to the secretary to say, listen, let us have a conversation concerning this matter. And then I was shocked into the fact that this $1 million thing was posting, and those who are trying to allude that Pastor Frank is dishonest and so on. Listen, people need to really understand that my family and I would have given to the Pentecostal organization more than we received.
Okay.
The amount of time and resources that we have placed as we see Pentecostal Light and Life as a mission, a core responsibility, not only as a family but as a church. And only a fool break his own heart.
So, Pastor Frank, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there something that some of us are missing? I mean, I saw your service this morning, like I said to you earlier, and now you are talking about an inference that the information as put out by Secretary Hackett on Facebook is almost a direct attack on you.
Yeah, well,
I did not see it that way.
No,
and forgive my ignorance.
Well, what I'm saying
So,
is
there something we need to know?
I do believe that Ms. Hackett acted sporadically, if there is a word like that, and did not check her facts. And she is found in an awkward position at this time, you know. But what has happened, which I believe she alluded to that situation. Now, I saw a post today or yesterday by one of the people on Facebook saying that that P&M contractor and that the cleaners catching hell to get paid. Go down and ask them. In 2021, there was an issue which it's unfortunate that I have to comment on it this way. But again, the horse is already out the stable. Somewhere along the line, somewhere up in February of 21, there was some probably auditing that were being done in the Division of Education. And someone came up with the notion that there is what you call a grant that is paid against every child, which is for material and so on, because you cannot charge in the law of Trinidad and Tobago that education must be free. So now when the government partner with you, you can't incur charge on the students.
Right. So
they pay you on a ratio, like for materials and things that you will do with that child. Say, for example, Form 1, you get $86 per child. Now, the quarrel between the board and the division was simply this. They were saying that that $86 is per annum. So you have to divide that into three.
$86 per year?
That is what they're saying, that it was that. Now, we understood it when we started. They were paying $86 per child per term.
Okay.
Right? So that was a special secret because we waited for months for the grant to be paid. That was under the PNM administration I'm talking about, under Miss Jack. I called her several times, what is going on? But nobody divulged what the problem was. The thing lag on until when I pressed, as I'm doing now, the administrator eventually decided to have a meeting with us and explain that they found this anomaly, that we were overpaid by, we should have received only $80 for the child for the year, and we receive $80 per term.
How many students do you have approximately per term, per calendar year, school year?
Well, per year, our numbers may be about 600.
600.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
You know, yeah. So the point that I'm making is that when they come up with that draw a very, very strong concern. Now, not only us was in that position, they would have withheld from bishops, and because at that time they said that they were now preparing to settle what payment must be made to the Seventh-day Adventists because they have not completed that exercise. They
So
got
is it that at the time Pentecostal Light and Life and Bishop
for the
got
past
an overpayment?
Well, they are claiming that. They're not saying that, but they are implying. It's implicit in their statement. Yeah.
If we do the quick math, $86 by 12, 12 months maximum, because how many, you spend about 9 months in school, yeah? So if you went to 12 maximum, it would be 1,032 or something like that, right? Per student.
No, well, no, it's per year I'm talking about. That was what they were saying, not per month. You don't understand what I'm saying? The quarrel was they were saying we were overpaid because we were supposed to at least get approximately 3 into 80s. We were supposed to get probably at least
That's
20.
$51,000. 86 by 600 students maximum.
Yeah.
It's $51,000.
But that's what I'm saying.
So you were getting $51,000.
No, we were getting.
You were supposed to get.
That is what they are saying.
Has that been resolved, or is it
No,
still?
that is not resolved. What has happened? The thing went on until I make a strong case to the then Chief Secretary, Mr. Dennis, and Mr. Jack, who was Secretary of Finance, and they would have took back to Cabinet, instructing the division to pay as per usual, to pay bishops, pay Pentecostal Light and Life as per usual, and a date would be set at some time in the future to sit down and resolve this matter, whether or not the funding of the school is adequate or, you know, whatever the thing was.
Okay, so let's go to some other numbers, right? Because that's $51,000 if we do 86
that's what I'm saying.
by 600 students. The secretary provided figures, $1.9 million per calendar year, which she said amounted to approximately $638,000 per term, per period.
That
is
the
that
figure.
51,000 included in that 630?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
All right.
So the point is, I think that the way how many people, because there are some people who even, like people who are secretaries now, who have never dealt with millions or so. Running government, there is a particular mindset you have to have. Because sometimes the check you sign off upon is 10 million, 15. You're not in that category yet. So $1 million can intimidate you. In the process, fair enough. But because of my years of experience and involvement, and when you add up all the things, because for approximately $400,000 of that 600,000 is for salary for cleaners and groundsmen.
Right, because I have no one to ask your business in the school there. Let us get into some figures, because you said approximately 400,000 for cleaners and groundsmen only. How much teachers does the school have? Because if we just do a basic calculation for the overall 638,000, let's say that each staff member gets $5,000 per month, and you have 10 staff members, right? 10 staff members at 5,000 is
No,
500,000.
assisted school don't pay the teachers, you know that. The division.
The division pays the teachers.
Right,
Okay, so you don't have any.
right. No,
So
no,
what
no,
you're paying is the cleaners,
the cleaners, the
groundsmen.
the ancillary staff. They will refer
All right.
that to.
So from the 638,000, you have 400,000 going
That
to
going-
wages.
that is- every cent we have, there is a prescribed breakdown
Right.
to which they are assigned.
Okay.
Right? So there is nothing in there for you to interfere with, as people
So
are suggesting.
was any of that 638,000? We have wages, we have the
Yeah.
amount for the students and so on. Was any of that meant to take care of like the air
No,
condition
no.
and those other things?
Listen, we used to, we, as a matter of fact, people need to understand the depth of this thing. For the first 3 to 5 years, we have not received then. Let me just give you a little perspective. I think Mr. O'Neill was the administrator then, and it took us years to be able to get our first grant. And it wasn't paid retroactively. Right?
Oh, okay.
Right. Now, what has happened with that? Yeah? What has happened with that also is that you have the whole issue of a constant struggle to deal with the expenses of where the school is concerned. And this has been something that should be looked at carefully going forward. As a matter of fact, we have several conversations with the Bishop's Board, and I also reach out to the incoming Seventh-day Adventist Board that somewhere along the line, cohesively, as the denominational school on a high school level, now they are denominational school on a primary level, the Methodists and other people are involved on that primary level, but only the 3 that are involved in the high
Secondary
school
school level.
And this has been the challenge that we've had. We do the best we can, and we have tried to run the school effectively. And coming back to, you see, what people misunderstand, why she's saying that she paid the money. It is because, and I thank her for paying it, because when the instruction was given to pay us, the last regime didn't have time, but after they instruct the thing.
So Secretary Hackett came in and essentially fulfilled a promise that the previous regime
Yeah,
could not. They did not. The previous executive.
When we receive the payment was for
It was approved by the prior executive.
Yeah.
But Secretary Hackett and this executive,
and
they paid it
and that was their duty. That was their thing. So the point that we were paid all our money, we used to do maintenance in the school. As a matter of fact, it was only at 2015 that Mr. Whitney Alfred was the first person who said that we were treated unfairly and decided to initiate school repairs. So there was a policy that was written under the London administration that the denominational school and repairs, because our cabinet approval have what you call a 2/3, 1/3 agreement, where if they're going to be major development, like a building a new school, the denomination put 1/3, the government put 2/3. So that is our cabinet minute, because the thing about these figures is not exclusive to Pentecostal Light and Life. The figures we are talking about, St. Mary's, all our name not even mentioned on our own list because we wasn't in existence yet as a school. That the official cabinet thing. So we were never. We used to, but then you realize that this thing becomes a money situation.
No,
so when I say when I know, okay.
I understand where you're going with that, but I still want to go back a bit to the dollars and cents, because I think that it's important for our viewers to break it down. Let me ask you, however, though,
the dollars and cents breakdown. I would not have said challenging what you're saying. The dollars and cents breakdown that you are alluding to. Yes, but there are those who are misled to think that bill that was paid, and it must be cleared up, that bill that was paid by the grants that were outstanding, that we had to borrow. If it is rumored, even by the lady who posted today, saying that like referring to me like a wicked man because I wasn't paid. I had to borrow twice during that period of time.
Okay, so back up a bit, Pastor Frank, because I have to catch up with you now, right? First of all, I don't know which lady posted today, so you're giving me information there.
Yeah.
And secondly, are you saying that this payment that Secretary Hackett and her division paid out to you guys, did that go to paying previous bills that you took a loan for the school?
Exactly. I have to, because
so that
during
money
that time we did not, that money is already accounted for.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Got you. Again, so I want to go just to the dollars and cents. Is it that the school board makes the accounts of the school? Are you required to make that public in terms of like Tobagonians, because you guys are not just your school, but all government assistance?
What I'm saying is the Education Act states clearly that the school board opens an account and have the accounts available should the minister or anybody ask them to give an account. Right?
So can regular Tobagonians have access to that? Let's say, because this discussion is open, and I'm saying not just for Pentecostal Light and Life,
I do believe,
but like the bishops and the Seventh-day Adventists, all of the denominational schools.
Listen, the information, I think that there was a level of irresponsibility, because it's not only when the amount I am paid was posted, it was not only Pastor Frank paid, that it was used maliciously, but it also exposed Bishop's business, it exposed QRC business.
Everybody gets the same amount?
So for per child.
Okay.
The amount...
No, not just the per child, but the overall grant.
There is one cabinet minute that governs all school. The cabinet articulates the amount that is being paid.
Okay.
Right? So I think that what has happened, in the case of the Tobago House of Assembly, they have some latitude in that you would find that since the Tobago House of Assembly established the Division of Education, and the Secretary for Education also has the latitude that they could see how it may be that they could add or take away or whatever the situation is. But there is a template set by the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. Ours came under Mr. Basdio Pandey, as I was referring to yesterday.
Right.
And his cabinet did approve our assisted status.
Okay, got you. Now, you're saying again, just to back up a bit, because it's a lot of information coming out, you're providing a lot. The school is now open, all right? So viewers, Pentecostal Light and Life Secondary School, they were open today. Students went out as normal, the whole school. This is after an alleged visit from the Secretary and other members of the Division of Education. Because you're saying nobody gave you any information with that. Did the Division of Education contact anybody from your school board at all to say that we are coming? What work did they carry out that you can open the school?
We received a call because the PIU that was coordinating that which was to be done since before Easter. They had those whether contracts or work to be implemented.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying. We receive a call from PIU.
PIU is Project Implementation
Right.
Unit, and this
On
is under
Friday,
the Division
yes,
of
yeah,
Education.
Yes.
Okay.
On Friday afternoon, asking us to come to the school. That was about maybe 4 or 5 so in the evening, because they wanted to do. My timeline may not be all.
Right. But this
intact.
in your church service, you said that Nathaniel wasn't there because he had to go to school.
He was the man who I sent, because he was there. The both of us left there last night, maybe at midnight. We
Okay.
left
So
at the school.
what
so
work
they were
happened?
some of the classrooms had no bulbs.
Right.
So there was an electrician there on Saturday and Sunday, replacing and rectifying the electrical.
Okay, so you got the bulbs replaced. What about the air condition unit? You said that
they were to start today, but
Okay.
it cannot be done because of the amount have to be changed out. So between the next 2 weeks. So after because the opening and closing didn't lie with me.
Okay.
In the sense that I stopped because I'm protecting the children.
Right.
Duty of care.
But could it be? Now I'm beginning to understand a bit more as you explain some of the things. Earlier on, you said that when you took the decision to close the school, the SS3, School Supervisor 3, said carry on.
Carry on.
It's in your right to feel as if that was not the best decision
Well,
the SS3.
I do believe that there are many people who have responsibility to act on the behalf of others.
No, but what I'm getting at is that the breakdown? The breakdown happened there?
No, well, again, I would feel that many times, a point I'm making, that I have recognized that people who have the responsibility to act on the behalf of others, they act in their own interests and don't see it through the eyes of those who they are acting for.
Got you. And your primary responsibility was the safety of the children
Listen,
your students.
I have seen,
and your teachers.
I have seen so many things in that school.
No. So we have to go for a break, Pastor Frank. But before we go, last question, quick answer. Is it that your teachers at Pentecostal Light and Life Secondary School, are they now much more comfortable this morning than they were on Friday?
Yes. Because they have seen some progress made.
Some progress. All right.
So, yeah, good.
So we're going to stop and take a break. You are viewing 40 Hour on Tobago Updates. Make sure and call all your friends, all your family in Tobago. We're having an important discussion with Pastor Frank of the Pentecostal Light and Life Secondary School with respect to the public saga that happened between the school and the Division of Education. We take a short break. Stay with us.
Are you looking for that all-in-one shopping experience? Then look no more. Visit Lamb's Best Mart for your grocery items, fruits and vegetables, drinks, home items, stationery, gift items, hampers, shopping gift cards, toiletries, small hardware items, and much more. We provide order and pickup service, even delivery to your door. We are your friendly community supermarket. Check us out today at Lamb's Best Mart, located at 22 Daniel Trace Canby, or visit us on social media at Lamb's Best Mart.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Thank you for staying with us. You're viewing 40 Hour on Tobago Updates. I am chatting with Pastor Glenroy Frank, the chairman of the board of the Pentecostal Light and Life Multifaceted Foundation. And we have been chatting about the issues that the school experienced recently that caused them to, on Friday, issue a public advisory on a temporary closure. However, on Monday today, the school has reopened after some mysterious visits, apparently, from the Education Division Secretary, Zorisha Hackett included. It's alleged that the visits were made and things were happening in terms of progress happening. And Pastor Frank is saying that whereas 23 of his 27 teachers were not happy and they signed the records and they left the school last week, they are now in a more comfortable position because they feel as if the works that were carried out yesterday and maybe early this morning has made them comfortable enough to stay in the school. A population of approximately 600 or 500 students at your school, Pastor Frank, and 27 teachers. Yeah, well, you do have the primary school, but the primary school didn't really end up in the Basa.
I was talking about the population.
Oh, so that 600 includes the primary school students? Okay, all right. Now, before this is the last segment of 40 Hour, and I want to pull one last clip from your Sunday service, Pastor Frank, because Pastor Frank did what many of us may not have expected. He gave an official update to his church members in church service yesterday, and he had a lot to say. We'll take a clip with respect to what Pastor Frank believes may be an issue with this current executive, as new as they are. He's had some words for them. Producer, let's get the clip up.
I want to also give them a word of warning. The word of warning that Pastor Frank wants to give them in Tobago is this. I noticed that they're going through some kind of ethnic cleansing. Every person who they believe is a people's national movement. When their contract is over, we don't have no more time for you. I would have been an advisor to Mr. London for 16 years. Mr. Charles, as a matter of fact, Sister Frank used to make a joke that if the parrot could have talked, if the parrot could have only talked, she would have heard all the conversation that I was having with these men when they come for advice. Giving advice across the board, whether it be PNM, if the PNM people come to me and ask me to pray for them and whatever, it is up to the other people to come that I can pray. I'm a clergyman, I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor first, before anything else. So therefore, I'm saying that Mr. London used to say to me, Pastor Frank, you see that thing that they're going down the road there about trying to single out thing and such, all are we are Tobagonians. And if this government want to last, they need to change their approach in what they are going. And that they need to respond quickly in seeking to give guidance. They are young, and many people feel that many times people are young, but young and inexperienced.
All right, so there you heard it. Pastor Frank, 3 very interesting points that you brought up there. One of them I think I missed initially. You talk about ethnic cleansing. You are saying that it seems as if this executive, the PDP executive, on an ethnic cleansing, they're doing ethnic cleansing where they're taking out all of the PNM appointed people. You're also saying that you were an advisor to former Chief Secretary Orville London for 16 years, and you also advised the former Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles.
Ho Choi Charles.
Oh, Ho Choi Charles. Okay, so just for some clarification there, were you a paid advisor? When you said advisor, were you on staff, or is it that they call you and they call you and you give information?
I feel that my value does not go for pay.
Okay.
I don't charge for anything along that line. Anything that comes with my pastoral office, I don't put it up for sale.
Okay, fair enough.
You know?
So the second issue of the ethnic cleansing, that's a strong allegation, Pastor Frank.
Well, yeah.
Tell us why you said that, what proof you have, or what makes you believe that.
Well, the thing about it is that I rewarded Shadow's Calypso when he said, I quite agree that Kitchener is great, but in 71, they must feel my weight. If those Steel Band boys give my tune a simple try, then Kitchy Boy, water in your eye. I rewarded to say, I quite agree PNM is great, but in 21, they feel Farley weight. The Tobago boys give Farley tune a simple try, and PNM, water in your eye. I had reward the thing that way. And the thing about it is that, maybe it's a serious joke, but I was so happy, even though that the PNM lost, I was so happy for the young people who triumphed in this thing. And I remind myself, though, about Rehoboam, the son of King Solomon, who the older people were giving advice, and they ignored the advice. And Rehoboam didn't last.
Right.
Because he listened to the young men.
And this is your message to the new
executive. This is my message to the new executive.
Change, listen,
yeah.
or you wouldn't last.
You wouldn't last. And this is nothing with PNM or UNC or anything like that. It's a song advice I'm giving to them.
Okay.
Because the attitude that have been displayed, you cannot, in as much that anyone who goes through a tertiary institution, there are some basic training that you get preparing you for the work environment. And if you allow your attitude to overtake the principle of good governance, you would find that is what will show. And many times you have to suppress your inner self when you are functioning on the behalf of other people.
But I want to ask you something, and I'm going to, I know you're a Christian pastor, so forgive my words, but I want to play devil's advocate for you here. What's so wrong if the PDP people decide they're moving out all them PNM hires, not regular public servants?
I'm not talking about regular.
No, I'm going back to the statement you made before, where you say ethnic cleansing, and I suppose you're using that, you know, to provoke thoughts, right? There are many people who felt as if when the PNM initially took power, they just sweep out people that was there before and they brought in their own hires. There are many people who are perhaps not PNM supporters that felt like the PNM never gave them an opportunity.
There are a lot of political appointments that are necessary for any new government to thing. Even
so, you're saying that they're reaching, they're sending over more people than they should?
Well, I don't want to put it that way, because perception is very, 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 very important.
Okay.
Because of my understanding that when the election is over, you have probably, if you dig deep, you may find that you may be a cousin to Pastor Frank. Lord Nelson was right, that all of we are one family. Yeah. And we cannot function and I'm calling out the administration as pastor. We must be to all people. Yes, make your political adjustment. Bring in the people who will support and such and such. But do you find that when on that level they may have a changing of the board or whatever, the things trickle down?
Right. No, you're not the only person to have said that. I need to ask you, because we're having this public discussion and Tobagonians are listening.
I'm accustomed. If you know me quite well, I'm not kidding you. Okay. If I see it that way, I will call it. And you know that I know of individuals who backslid, I would say that, from PNM. And the PDP could not win the election without the help of the PNM
Pastor
followers.
Frank, your language was really, really interesting, because I heard this on the service again, and you said, the PDP people need to understand that it's PNM people backside and put them there, and you use the Christian term.
Listen, I'm saying to you, yes, I use it because I keep my word within safety. But there were many people who said, listen, people confide in Pastor and tell them a lot of things. And a lot of people come to me and say, Pastor, not this time, I give in. And I asked I asked the question rhetorically, how could the PDP know? Those who accuse me of being a PNM pastor. You see, whosoever God love, he chasten. And sometimes I have my son and I talk to him very stern sometimes when he deserves it. Sometimes he get a couple whip, but I can, well, really truthfully, I can count on one hand how many times I flog him, because I believe in a different strategy in talking to him. But the point I'm making is, that doesn't mean that I don't love him. Right. And I'm saying is that I really want to see this administration succeed, because if they don't, they will put Tobago in a retrograde situation. And I'm saying that they need to have seminars. They need to have people who understand good governance. They listen, some people have to bite their lip and change their behavior. When you have to deal with people, you don't ask me who is my mother, who is my father. Every one of us, you have asked us for the confidence. You have won. You have to know where to stop, where your political choices and where your obligation to every Tobagonian comes in.
All right, now Pastor Frank, you give us a mouthful, and unfortunately we're out of time. We're out of time. So much to ask you, so many things to clear the air on. I saw some people were asking for a clarification on whether or not you borrowed money to pay the funds. I'm going to ask you to look back, replay the live afterwards, because he did say yes, there was some borrowing done by the school, and the allocation was a retroactive one. Pastor Frank, you've said to us several things. You've accused the current administration, the current executive, of ethnic cleansing. You're not the only person to say that. Yeah, you're not the only person to say that.
It's an observation that I'm making.
You're saying as well that they need to listen.
Yeah.
Right? This is what you're saying to them. Listen and speak and communicate. And most importantly, what I heard from you with respect to the school, Pentecostal Light and Life, which is why we're here in the first place, is that you wanted that communication and you didn't get the communication. Somewhere along the way,
I'm still waiting.
The communication
the reason why the first time I spoke on the matter was to my congregation. Right. I was still hoping that the Chief Secretary would have called me. I was still hoping for the Secretary for Education. I am waiting.
Okay.
For them to, because I don't talk out of turn. I'm not an irresponsible person. I started this job as pastor since 1980, and I've functioned, pastored in Trinidad, transfer here. My heart is for Tobago and its young people, and that is the reason why we are involved in the skill development, which I mentioned to you, that we are doing now. We start that since 2005. And again, because of the breakdown that transpired between the Tobago House of Assembly and funding. And you know, the reason why
unfortunately, Pastor, I can't let you go. Maybe we'll have to have this conversation another time.
But nevertheless, I want to thank you very much for having me in, and you really called me to explain on your program, and I appreciate very much.
I appreciate you accepting the invitation from us at Tobago Updates. We want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight for 40 Hour. It was a short hour, very, very interesting hour with Pastor Frank, as he sought to explain to us what he tried to explain to his congregation with respect to the ongoing saga between the Pentecostal Light and Life Secondary School and the Division of Education, Research and Technology.
I just want to correct one thing, that it's 600 overall.
600?
Yeah, overall. I said high school, but it's 600 overall, both with
secondary and primary. Okay, lovely. All right, so there you have it, viewers. Thank you very much. You've been viewing 40 Hour. My name is Glendora Lashley. Good night.